I'm Dominique DiPrima. This show is called First Things First, and my first thing every single day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors, the elders, and the community. And let's go. Let's do this. We do have a lot to talk about. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. And thank you to everyone who showed up for the Wealth Management Long Beach Wealth Management and Financial Advisors webinar on Saturday. It was really deep. It was a round table, not the red table talk, but the green table talk with a lot of powerful voices who own their own businesses and who had a lot to say about finances, personal finance, as well as business, small business finances, bookkeeping, how to keep your boat afloat and thrive. And so if you missed it, it is still available. You can go to wealthmanagementlb.com and watch the whole webinar. I'm moderating that. And I learned a lot. I'm pretty sure you will too, wealthmanagementlb.com. So we are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. For those who care about stuff like that, it just means that it seems like Mercury's going backwards relative to the sun. It's not actually. It's, I guess, an optical illusion that creates a real impact if you are a person who follows astrology, as I do, largely because, I don't see it as some mystical thing or anything. To me, it's like a weather report. And so that way I know whether to carry an umbrella. It's not a religion. It's not, astronomy. It's an ancient science that goes all the way back to Kemet, which is, the name that conscious scholars use for ancient Egypt, Kemet. And it goes all the way back there. And so, and people have been using it. I find it to be helpful. Like I said, it's not a religion. It's just a science. And so Mercury retrograde, give yourself a little bit more time. Don't panic. Try not to argue with your loved ones because this is a time when miscommunication and misunderstandings can be rampant. But at the same time, it's a great time to finish a project you have been meaning to get around to, clean out a closet, reconnect with an old friend or relative, review, redo, reevaluate, all those things. Not a great time to buy a new computer, though, or sign a brand new contract. Just goes on for about 2 or 3, I think it's 3 weeks, and it usually happens 2 or 3 times a year. We started it Friday. Take it slow. In fact, you might think you're taking it fast and you still have to take it slow because it's going to take you longer to get from point A to point B. You know how we do this? Hour 1, we typically talk local things. Whatever's local to you. Your community, your block, your city, your neighborhood. That's one of the confusing things if when you first move to LA, because LA is made up of a bunch of places that are presumably cities in their own right, like Van Nuys, and, Carson. No, not Carson is in LA County, not LA City. See, that's when it gets confusing. Pacoima is LA. Carson is Carson. So, all of the places that are you, all the places where you are, everywhere you have something to say, I would love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. It's hard to have a sense of whether things are really more wild and hectic than usual because I feel like we're exposed to so much more news, right? Between the 24-hour news cycle, the endless loops of news which go on in the cable space, which go on now. You go to the gas station and they're giving you news while you're pumping your petrol. You get news in the grocery stores and these little kiosk thingies. There's just news or information and misinformation around us everywhere, including on social media. So you can say it seems like there's so much more violence. It seems like people are so much more crazy. But in order to make sure that we're being intellectually honest, we have to look at the big picture, the statistics. It seems like within that concept that there are certain types of crime that are up and others that are down or level since we entered the pandemic. It seems like there's another component, which is we're just hearing about things that seem, horrendous or hard, even more hard to swallow than what we usually get in our crime videos. And so I guess, the question is, how do you stay encouraged? How do you watch the news, be aware of your surroundings, aware of what we're facing, what we're up against, whether your issue is reparations or reforming, reimagining, policing, or whether it might be community violence, especially right now if you're in the women's rights, feminism, womanism space. How do you stay informed and aware of the obstacles without just being totally discouraged and bummer tripped? Like I've been talking to a couple of my activist friends. It's like, oh, I'm so depressed. I feel bad. Well, one of the things that I do that helps me is look local, like we do in this hour. Look local to what's going on. Even when there's terrible things going on, look at responses. Look at what's good. Look at where we're making progress. What's working in your community? What do you wish you had more of? Not to be having rose-colored glasses, although I admit that I sometimes do, but just because we have to stay encouraged. And if we only pay attention to Washington as they play chicken with the debt ceiling, as they, Republicans across the country in state houses make these seemingly very just impossibly retro laws and policies, I think the way to stay encouraged is with local action, local engagement, and also looking at our wins, looking at the things that I say, looking at what's good. Sometimes we don't do enough of that. And, one of the things that I find good is that when it comes to health and wellness, which has always been one of the big areas of disparity for Black people in America, we are finding study after study now showing that Black patients, Black people who are having babies, Black people who are doing preventative care have better outcomes when they have a Black doctor. Even if they don't personally have a Black doctor, if they're in a hospital or institution which has a higher number of Black doctors, we benefit from that. And that's good news to me because it's something you can do. And although there aren't that many Black doctors, we're a very small percentage of the practicing physicians, still you can find us in most places or find institutions that have us. And it's a simple thing that won't cost you anything except some time on your Google fingers and your research and your word of mouth, your word of mouth phone bank. It's something simple we can do that has a huge, huge impact on ourselves, our children, and our future children. So to me, that's good news. It's also good news because to me, even though researchers don't know why Black patients have better outcomes with Black doctors, we know that it's so. To me, it means there's something in the way we see each other, in the way we love each other, in the way we care for each other as Black people that is giving us better outcomes, better care. I'm not saying, oh, white people hate us, so they do bad medicine on us. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there is an extra level of seeing and understanding, and that results in better care. The level of unconscious bias is just not there. That can create mistakes, even in the most well-meaning person, right? It's not that kind of a story. It's a story about how we love us, and that love, respect, and care translates to things like living longer, more appropriate responses to our medical problems, and better outcomes for the babies for them to survive and thrive. And those are important things based on the concept of brotherhood, sisterhood, of Black love, unity. And I think it's something we often spend time complaining. Black people only got together. If we only loved each other more. Well, maybe we need to start counting the ways that we do and appreciating those and lifting them up. That's what I'm doing this morning. Go get you a Black doctor or get in a facility with a higher number of Black physicians, regardless of their gender and other orientations, even their politics. You we'll end up with better outcomes. That's what the data show. Love to hear from you on any topic, 800-920-1580. Love to hear from you on social media always. It's KBLA 1580 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and most especially on YouTube. And of course, you can find me at all of the above at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. Let's do this. Let's talk about it. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Are you between 18 and 26 years old and trying to find out how you're supposed to make all this work? If you've said, I need a job and some transportation, rent, it's so high. Food too. There's childcare and I need to go back to school. I need to transform my life. Well, help is on the way. Transform Your Life Day is coming Saturday, April 29th at San Manuel Stadium. It's a shopping mall of free community services where you can talk with programs and even enroll right on the spot. It's free help for young adults to get you started on meaningful careers, finish up your diploma or your college degree. There's help with finding housing, transportation, food, and childcare. Plus, you get a free ticket to the 66ers game, free parking along with prizes. Get there early for free food. Reserve your free space today at ccc.ca.gov. That's ccc.ca.gov. ccc.ca.gov.
Congratulations to Grace Memorial Chapel and Funeral Home for being this week's winner of KBLA's Office of the Week. Your office won lunch for 10, delivered by the original Taco Pete. Congratulations to Grace Memorial Chapel and Funeral Home.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Siva Freight LLC seeks a senior field sales executive to work in Torrance, California to identify, target, and win new business for a company selling services in freight forwarding and logistics. Will accept a bachelor's degree in business administration, supply chain, logistics management/logistics, or related field of study, plus 4 years business-to-business B2B experience selling services in freight forwarding/logistics, including at least 2 years experience closing sales at executive level or sales account management utilizing software applications such as transport management systems and customer relationship management systems, Salesforce. Also, experience in global request for quotes, RFQ management. 20% domestic travel required. Apply at sivalogistics.com/careers. Must put 518732 on resume.
This world has its limits, but in the all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya, you've got a world of possibilities. You can leave it all behind in serene interiors, or you can go after it with available e-Force all-wheel drive. Go your way in the all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. Nissan Ariya with e-Force not yet available for purchase. Expected availability early 2023, subject to change. E-Force all-wheel drive is an optional feature. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
I guess some schools in LA Unified and Glendale Unified are closed today to commemorate Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day. There's going to be a rally in Little Armenia to mark the 108th anniversary of the start of the events, that Armenians call the first genocide of the 20th century. I guess that means genocide against black people is what, 17th century forward? Anyway, The school board adopted a policy back in 2020 to close schools on Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day in the Glendale Unified School District. I know there's a lot of Armenian folks that live over there, and over there it's been going since 2013. So I don't know. You might want to check. You probably already know. Hopefully, you do know if your school is closed today in commemoration of that. That historical trauma. Let's go to Carl calling us from LA. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Can you hear me? Because that helicopter's flying all over the neighborhood right now.
You know what's crazy? I can't hear the helicopter. I only hear you. Your phone is doing a good job of blocking out the drama.
Okay, that's great. Hey, look, that retrograde that you and what's the sister's name?
Sahara Ali. Yes.
Yeah, Sahara Ali. I mean, hey, yeah, you got to have patience right now. I mean, because, sometimes I feel like flaring up a little bit too, but like my buddies say, always be cool. So, I'll be glad when that retrograde stuff is gone or whatever it is. Hey, but I've been looking into a lot of senior citizens out here, Dominique. There's a lot of senior citizens, they're into poverty right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they up there in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and they're poor. They just relying on certain checks that they got. They may have 2, maybe 3 checks, or 2, or maybe just 1. But I'm seeing a lot of seniors in poverty. Can you tell me or give me a reason why? What's going on?
Carl, I don't think that's I don't think that's new, but I do think it's getting worse. And
yeah,
I mean, one of the reasons, think about it. If you're on Social Security right now, that's a fixed income, right? And then inflation hits, it's going to make it worse because your dollars don't expand. They don't give you more food stamps. They don't give you more Social Security. They don't give you more SSI. You have to try to live on the same amount of money, even though everything costs more. And that's why things like inflation hit seniors even harder. On top of that, we've had this housing crisis, housing crunch, where if you're not a senior who's owning their home, if you're a renter, the possibilities for having housing that you can actually afford are slim. So housing is going to be taking, especially if you're in the city like LA, taking a big chunk out of your monthly check. And so, I mean, I think this country, we've had this problem with poverty among seniors. We've had it for a long time because the way our system is set up, most people do not have retirement. Most people, especially in low-wage workers, right? If you're working at a fast food restaurant or one of these chain grocery stores, I'm not talking about the union jobs. I'm talking about the chains like the Trader Joe's of the world or the Best Buys of the world. They're paying you minimum wage. So even if you've been working full-time or double full-time your whole life, you don't have a pension. You don't have retirement, right? So all you have to rely on is your Social Security check. And to me, this is one of the reasons why, and then a lot of seniors were working on the side before the pandemic. They might have had Social Security and a check, but they might be working part-time at, Food for Less or something. And many seniors dropped those jobs because they were too dangerous during the pandemic. And many of them decided they're not coming back because they don't want to risk their lives. So now you have a situation where housing and other costs are going up. The side hustle is gone. And the government checks, our earned benefits, they're not entitlements, they're earned benefits. We paid into a system for years and years. Those earned benefits are not worth what they used to be.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I passed by a church the other day, and the line was around the block for they was handing out canned goods, food, and it was extra long, all the way down to the middle of the block. I was like, wow, what are they, when is somebody going to speak on how to help these senior citizens? I mean, I'm trying to stay healthy as possible. I heard you talking about doctors and seeing a doctor earlier on in your show.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to stay as healthy as possible.
Same.
I don't want to.
Same. I mean, that's the best thing we can do is stay out of the system. But, one of the things we sometimes don't do, Carl, is preventative care. Do you get your checkups and all that good stuff? I know you probably don't want to share that on the radio. You don't have to. But a lot of us, especially black men, no shade, do not go to doctors until it's an emergency. And staying around and without, like, if we want to be like Dick Gregory and be in our 80s with no pharmaceuticals in sight, we're going to have to do more prevention.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm seeing that the Mayor Karen Bass, is she handing out any of the checks or any funds for any of the nonprofits that are filing for their, how they get their donations or anything like that? Do you know anything about that, Dominique? And I'll take that answer off the air.
Okay, Carl. It's always good to hear from you. Thanks for all you do. I don't specifically know what nonprofits you're talking about, but I do know that the mayor has spoken on the fact that the Getty Fund and the Mayor's Fund, these are two like grant pools of money that mayors have access to when they're in office, that she's dedicating those funds to keeping people in housing. Not houseless people or the unsheltered, but those who could be unhoused if they get evicted unjustly. And so my understanding is that her main focus for the charitable funds that she has within her control as an elected, she plans to use to make sure, for example, everyone who's facing eviction court has an attorney. Those, right to counsel, which is something we've talked about for a long time in the city, and we've done pilot projects, but it hasn't been fully funded as far as I know. And so those kinds of things that can stop what many fear could be a tsunami of unhoused folks. Because one of the biggest challenges we have in Los Angeles is that even though we are getting a lot of people off the streets, reportedly 20 people a day is what I'm quoting Pete White from LA Can, 20 people a day. That was before Safer Inside, but Safe Inside. 20 people a day were getting housed, 25 a day falling into houselessness. So that at that point, you're sweeping the beach. If you got people, losing their housing more quickly than you're getting people into new spaces, you're never going to catch up. And that's why the mayor, I know, has said she plans to use all of her discretionary funds to help people who are housing insecure, meaning you're paying 50% or more of your income just to keep a roof over your head. That's without even touching, your other necessities, your utilities, which, the utilities are high. I just saw that gas bill again and my eyes popped out. I'm like, I need a third job. And I know everyone's feeling it. So, these are the kinds of things that Carl was addressing and why we need to just be vigilant. And I try to share with you as many resources as possible to help us weather the storm, really. Love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Monday morning with us here on the Black Information Network. It is April 24th. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest. The mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, says a culture of fear and paranoia helped lead to the shooting of a black 16-year-old who knocked on the wrong door. Speaking on CBS's Face the Nation yesterday, Democrat Quentin Lucas said politicians and the media are largely to blame for a culture where people immediately go for their guns. Now to Stone Mountain, Georgia, where some groups want a Confederate Memorial Day event canceled at Stone Mountain Park. The Southern Poverty Law Center and Stone Mountain Action Coalition want the governor to step in and call off the planned festivities that's scheduled for Thursday. The Sons of Confederate Veterans already have a permit for that event. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Advance your career and earn a master's in accounting at Azusa Pacific University's Leung School of Accounting, with scholarships available and 100% job placement after graduation. There's never been a better time to advance your accounting career. Visit apu.edu today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Memphis guard Dylan "The Villain" Brooks will be on the court tonight for Game 4 against the Lakers. The NBA decided not to suspend him for his low blow to LeBron Saturday night in Game 3. Brooks was ejected and given a flagrant foul too. League officials determined the low blow was not egregious enough to warrant a suspension. The drama between LeBron and Brooks will continue tonight. Brooks started this mess after Game 2 in Memphis when he called LeBron old. In case you missed it Saturday night, LeBron walked up to Brooks during pregame warm-ups and had a brief conversation with him that lasted only a few seconds. Brooks said the only thing LeBron talked to him about was his birth date. LeBron was born December 30th, 1984. Their interaction tonight between these two should be interesting. Tip-off at 7 on TNT. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm young, gifted, and black. KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
Hey there, I'm Jared Hill, president of the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles, and I just want to say thank you for the benevolent $10,000 donation and scholarships for the next generation of black journalists.
And I'm Haywood Galbraith, photojournalist and founder of the Minority Photojournalism Institute. Thanks, KBLA, for your generous $10,000 scholarship gift to help us train the next generation of black photojournalists.
Congratulations to all the students who will benefit from the scholarship dollars raised at our Black History Month luncheon honoring black legends in LA media. When we come forward at KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us.
I want to thank you. KBLA Talk 1580 would like to thank all of the businesses that tune into KBLA at work. We celebrate you, your calls to the station, and your overall support. To show our appreciation, we would like to treat your office to a lunch for 10, brought to you by the Original Taco Pete's. Open the KBLA Talk 1580 app or log on to KBLA1580.com to submit your office to be selected for our Office of the Week. We know you're just like our staff, putting in many hard, smart working hours per week. We just want to say thank you, and we appreciate you. You and your staff deserve lunch on us. Enter your office to win lunch for 10 and be highlighted on KBLA Talk 1580 as our Office of the Week. Open the KBLA app or log on to KBLA 1580 to enter your office today to become the KBLA Talk 1580 Office of the Week, sponsored by the Original Taco Pete's, a black-owned restaurant. Become the KBLA Talk 1580 Office of the Week. This has been a KBLA Talk 1580 community call to action.
I know it's gonna happen without you.
Jai Person Lynn here with Person Lynn Law Office. As a fourth-generation Angelino, educated at Hampton University and Howard University School of Law, I understand the importance of upholding your human and civil rights whenever dealing with law enforcement. Whether facing a misdemeanor, felony, or infraction, I'm here to ease the stress and uncertainty that comes with an arrest or criminal charge. My team is dedicated to providing the best legal representation, and we will work with you at every step to ensure you are fully informed and your rights are protected. With nearly 2 decades of experience and a long track record of success, I will work diligently to ensure the best possible outcome. Call me as soon as you're aware of police contact at 424-261-2075. That's 424-261-2075. 424-261-2075.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you, and I invite you into the conversation. How can it be a conversation if it's just me? 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Okay, Miles. I don't know. You probably, this is, I'm sure, old news to you. It happened a while ago, but I've been meaning to talk about it. But, you know, the story of what happened to Afro Man, the rapper. He's a old school rapper. Well, whatever, 2000 or something around there. He was popular.
So for president.
Huh? Yeah, he's running for president. He is running for president. He's running for president, but I think that partly comes out of the fact that, you know, they raided his house because they suspected him of drug trafficking, the police in Ohio. And they said they suspected him of kidnapping. I don't know what that's about. They searched his house. They didn't find anything, and they didn't file any charges, which means they were either in the wrong house or it was a fishing expedition. He says they broke down the door. They broke his video surveillance system. He says they took money from him, which and then I'm not going to comment, but okay, we know Rampart and scared his family. Anyway, Afro Man decided to take some footage from that raid and put it into one of his videos. And now the police are suing him.
Wow.
Trying to stop his music video. To me, like, if you run up in my house, especially if it's a mistake, and then you're on video looking stupid, that's not, to me, that's my home. I don't know what the law says, but to me, if you run up in my house and I videotape you running up in my house, I get to do with that as I will. He wrote about what happened to him, and then he made music videos from his home surveillance footage, and they want him and his label to stop. They're calling it invasion of privacy, which I think is really ironic. The cops run up in your house and then they sue you for invasion of privacy. I don't know. I think it's just, I thought it was really clever. To me, it's like, yep, okay, I'm talking about turning lemons into lemonade. You just performed my music video.
So where's Afro Man running out of?
What do you mean?
Is what state is his home state? Is he saying California?
Well, I mean, I always think of him as being from California. I think he is from California, but I could be wrong about that, but he's living in Ohio.
Okay.
So this all went down in Ohio.
I'm reading right here. He's running for the pothead of state. I like that. I like it. Why not? Go ahead. Everybody else is doing it. Afro Man, get your shine while you can.
Kanye can't be the only one, right?
I mean, there's tons of them that have talked about them running for president.
Really?
So, let's see if he actually goes through it. I don't know if he will, but I'm not going to vote for Afro Man, but I love to see Afro Man go do what he does.
Yeah. Okay. So I know Ye is kind of like almost like a perennial candidate now. Like he'll probably run every election between now and the end of time.
Yeah, I don't think Kanye will benefit from running for president again. I think it's kind of he might let that ship sail a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of played out.
Yeah.
It was kind of played out when he did it, but he did get a lot of publicity from it, for sure.
I think now he's in a place where he'll get a lot more just bad publicity for it. I don't think people would do too much the meme. I call it meme, like meme voting. How you would fill out the vote just to take a picture of it and say, "Yeah, I voted for Kanye."
Oh, okay, I got you.
So I think he won't get that. I think he'll probably get a lot more criticism than he will fan love right now.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he's going through a lot, but you're right. It's not new, but I think maybe I missed a few because I don't know all the people that are running for president. I do know, however, that former talk radio host who ran for governor of the state of California is running for president.
Oh, wow, he is?
Yeah, man. Larry Elder is back at it. It's like after wasting a whole bunch of money to run in California and lose, I am now going to run for president. And I mean, I guess, if at first you don't succeed, try again. But I'm not looking forward to hearing that super dumb analysis and campaign talking points in 2024.
I wish I had a budget that wide open where I can just, run for elected official knowing I'm probably not going to win, but I'll still put the money up to do it just because it, may be fun. I may get a little bit of clout off of it.
Yeah, I think Larry Elder's gotten a lot of clout. I mean, he was seen as a serious contender in the California governor's race, even though he didn't get that many votes. And the fact that CNN and New York Times and everybody is covering his bid, I think he's benefiting from the Donald Trump effect where people don't want to be caught not taking someone seriously who turns out to have some crazy populist surge and win or do really well.
All publicity is good publicity, that type?
Yeah, all publicity is good publicity. Well, that's what my friend the late Eazy-E reminded me.
Right, exactly.
He'd say, he told me, Dominique, I spent $5,000. I think that's what he donated to George W. Bush's.
Get to the White House.
Yeah. And I got, what did you tell me? I spent $5,000 for $20 million worth of publicity.
Right.
I was like, well, I can't really argue with that because that story went around the world.
Right. And if it's going to work for him, go for it. I'm not opposed to him going for it. I don't think it's going to work for him at the, as far as getting elected goes. But yeah, if it's for publicity, go ahead, for sure.
Yeah. Well.
That's tough. That's where we're at, though, in America, where our, what's the word? Our political system is based off entertainment and headlines and TMZ style reporting.
Likes.
Yeah, likes and comments, and that plays a factor as opposed to what everything else is. So that's tough to be American right now thinking about that, but that's what we're doing. Let's go for it.
Yeah, we're definitely in the pop culture period
go.
of American politics. That's how I see it. And it is, there's some good things, but there's a lot of treacherous things in that. You can end up with a Trump presidency. And that's the extreme end of it. And things that we used to consider long shots or totally unacceptable behavior is now fully mainstream. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, see if Elder gets any traction at all. He says he's running because he's running against Democrats calling America systemically racist. So clearly it's the anti-woke line. He's running, Miles, saying that he's mad that there's not enough fathers in the home, and he's concerned about securing the border. So
he's running as a Republican?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He is a Republican, yeah.
Just want to make sure. Okay.
Far right-wing conservative. I guess in California, people play down their Republican status. But yeah, so that means he'll be competing with DeSantis.
Yeah.
And Trump.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. But maybe he's really campaigning for the vice president slot, right? Yeah, no. He could be the new Pence.
Nah. Not going to work. Not going to work, Larry.
Make Pence look like a scholar. All right. I'd love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. We're talking local. We're talking whatever's on your mind. Always. And by the way, don't just keep your kid out of school. Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day is being commemorated in select LAUSD schools. I'm assuming it's ones with huge Armenian populations. So if that's not you, you got to go to school today. Don't even try it. Call me now, 800-920-1580. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
This just added to the National Recording Registry. Stick around to find out what queen is getting her flowers. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by Lendistry. If you guessed Queen Latifah, you guessed right. What is the National Recording Registry? Well, since 1850, the U.S. Library of Congress adds notable recordings to the registry each year. This year, 1980s staple songs like Sweet Dreams Are Made of This and Like a Virgin by Madonna, the Synchronicity album by The Police, the Flashdance theme song, the theme from Super Mario, yep, the video game, and Queen Latifah's full All Hail the Queen album. In total, the registry has upwards of over 600 songs.
Thanks to our new sponsor, Lendistry. Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered in Los Angeles. Lendistry helps small business owners access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit Lendistry, LENDISTRY.com/KBLA today.
Congratulations to Grace Memorial Chapel and Funeral Home for being this week's winner of KBLA's Office of the Week. Your office won lunch for 10, delivered by the original Taco Pete. Congratulations to Grace Memorial Chapel and Funeral Home.
Siva Freight LLC seeks a senior field sales executive to work in Torrance, California to identify, target, and win new business for a company selling services in freight forwarding and logistics. Will accept a bachelor's degree in business administration, supply chain, logistics management/logistics, or related field of study, plus 4 years business-to-business B2B experience selling services in freight forwarding/logistics, including at least 2 years experience closing sales at executive level or sales account management utilizing software applications such as transport management systems and customer relationship management systems, Salesforce. Also, experience in global request for quotes, RFQ management. 20% domestic travel required. Apply at sivalogistics.com/careers. Must put 518732 on resume.
love wins.
It is indeed, and I always love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. Scary what's going on, up by Corcoran where the prison is. I guess the lake, which wasn't a lake until we had our monsoons, as I call them, all the rain. It's the Tulare Lake Basin, which was just a dry, flat, lake bed until all of this rain is now a whole huge lake, and it's threatening to flood out that entire town and the prison. And there's also substance abuse or rehab up there. There's about 8,000 people between the rehab and the prison, and all of it could be flooded out when the snowpack starts melting off of the mountains. That lake, which was never really a lake in recent history, is now almost overflowing, and it's just a little wooden levee that's standing between the town of Corcoran and the lake, becoming massive. Now, we're expecting a ton of water to come down as the temperatures heat up. We had a beautiful, lovely weekend, and we can see these 80s and 90s and triple-digit days ahead, and they're freaking out. They're calling on the state to spend a whole bunch of money to shore up that levee. And I don't blame them. Who wants their home, their workplace, i.e. the prison, to be flooded? Nobody. But again, this is going to be a pattern, because with all of the weird weather that we have, we're going to have, the climate crisis is going to necessitate, all of this spending, right? Oh, now we have floods over here. Okay, all of a sudden it's freezing here, and this is cracking and breaking. Okay, now it's so dry. We have to have water storage. You talk about infrastructure. We're barely scratching the surface. Dee from Long Beach is on the phone. Good morning, Dee.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'll make it. I will make it. You have a choice between 2024 and LAUSD. So what do we do?
Oh, well, LAUSD, because I think we're going to be talking about 2024 a whole lot.
Yes, ma'am. These are what I call my 4 whys, and I'm reading, so I try to avoid that, but I get nervous when I'm on the radio. Number 1, instead of paying institutions for how many seats are occupied, why can't we pay them an end-of-year bonus for overachievement to be split 50-50 by teachers and improvements to plant and equipment?
Okay. Are you going to go through all 4? Yeah, okay.
If the historical justification for K through 12 summers off was that we used to be an agrarian society, why can't kids go to school or attend after-school programs year-round with 2 weeks off between sessions? Number 3, why can't middle school students who qualify psychologically report to campus 3 times a week to meet with nurses, guidance counselors, librarians, and coaches, then mainstream them back into the full social experience of senior high school? And number 4, why are we having the same conversation in 2023 as we did in 1979 when the Department of Education was created?
What conversation is that?
Improving education in this country, raising the bar. The Department of Education was carved out of the Department of Housing, Education, and Welfare in 1979 in the Carter administration.
Okay, well, we'll probably do a whole show on the 4 questions you asked or raised, but I would just address them quickly. I think that I love your idea of an end-of-year bonus for achievement that's split between the teachers and the institution, or between the teachers, the janitors, and the institution, but because this thing about paying schools based on who is in the seats is really problematic. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times it seems like they care more about having a kid in the seat than whether or not that child is learning anything. And so I think it sounds like that's what you're trying to address with that first question.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Year-round school, as a mom, I would be probably okay with it, but I think it would be terrible for kids. Kids don't want to be, we already give them so much homework. We expect kids to go to school from 8:30 or 8 until 3:30, and then come home and do homework until 6 or 7 or 8 at night. We expect them to work more than the 40 hours a week we're supposedly working. And then now you want to do it year round. I don't agree with that. I think kids need time to be kids.
True, but this would be shorter hours per day.
Yeah, but see, there's a pressure that hangs over kids the whole time that they're in school because there's always homework. There's always another project due. There's always a teacher judging and grading you. And I think kids need time away from that. I think they need, and teachers do too, by the way. I don't know. I think teaching kids is hard work. I think teachers might need the time away as well to recoup and recover. That's just my opinion. As a mama, I think constant school is just like a mental health nightmare for kids.
Wow.
That's just my
Never
opinion.
looked at it that way.
I mean, because it's just pressure. And their job, they judge at school, then they come home and we judge them. They work at school, then they come home and they do homework. I think we give kids too much homework. I think we need to put more emphasis on making them learn in the classroom where they're supposed to be learning at school. And we should have just a minimum amount of homework to prove that they learned what they were supposed to learn. And I think, to me, the idea of I think they're talking about going from 3 weeks to 2 weeks of LAUSD school breaks. I don't agree. I think kids need breaks. And we're seeing how much mental health challenge young people have coming out of this pandemic. I just think we need to show them some, self-care / soft life, just like we're talking about for ourselves. I want to address your other 2 points when we come forward. Is KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan. Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
The FAA will be hiring air traffic controllers soon. Applications open June 24th through June 27th. If you know someone between the ages of 18 and 30 who might be interested, please tell them to go to www.faa.gov/BE-ATC to apply today. The salary range is $103,000 to $164,000. There's also paid training and school. Again, that's www.faa.gov/BE-ATC. Again, that's www.faa.gov/BE-ATC to apply to be an air traffic controller. This community call to action is brought to you by the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals and KBLA Talk 1580.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and we're unapologetically progressive. Yeah. Oof, it's going to be a long campaign season with this Larry Elder character running. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about, but Dee from Long Beach brought up the LAUSD, which appears to have made a great deal for Local 99 workers, the teaching assistants and custodians and others. It appears to have made a great deal for the teachers union. And so it looks like we're in a position to move forward. under the leadership of the new mayor and with the superintendent. That said, you mentioned 4 things: end of the year bonus instead of those attendance funding formulas, the year-round school, middle school students going on to campuses. I love that, so they could get acclimated to, I'm assuming that's what it's for, so they could get acclimated to high school and further their chances of success, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's great. Having the same conversations, yeah, I think we are, but I think some of them have shifted. I think education is very trendy, and that's why I keep saying we give kids too much homework. A lot of parents and educators think you just pile more and more and more and more on the kids, and that's how we get better outcomes. We can use a Singapore model where we just drill our kids and make them go to school 8 days a week and turn them into little robots who are great at spouting back the facts and being a spoke in the wheel in somebody's factory. For me, we should be looking to an education system that leans in to American innovation and creativity, which are the things that we really do well. And to me, that means getting away from this over-testing, over-homeworking model that we're in now. And I don't think that's quite the same conversation, because all the folks that got us into this mess of testing our kids to where all teachers can do is teach to tests and, stressing our kids out with so many tests and so much homework, which is mostly busy work. I think that's something that's been on the rise. I call it the education arms race, D, in recent years.
What do you think about busing children, specifically black children?
Well, I mean, don't you know? I know people. Don't you know people who got a better education? Excuse me, because they were bused. I mean, I think it should be up to the individuals. But what do you think?
I don't like the idea because it consumes such a great proportion of their day.
Yeah, that's true.
And
not only that, it's got a huge carbon footprint. But at the same time, with these GOP proposals to make vouchers the answer and abandon the children that don't have the mobility to leave public schools and just say let public schools be trash, that's the other extreme, right? Which is
that's it. I would support vouchers if they had a way there.
To me, if having busing or school choices is having school choice through busing and programs like the LAUSD's Choices, where you can apply to go to a different school, is better than vouchers, because low-income students can also take advantage of it. It doesn't give the rich better and better schools, and the low-income folks abandoned with no resources.
But like Medicare for all, children deserve Harvard for all.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great point. But until we get there, and we ain't there, school choice without the destruction of the public school system, which is what the voucher system aims for, to me, is the way forward. Do you always ask compelling questions? It's time for news, traffic, and sports, and more conversation. Okay,
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Monday morning with us here